So far, we had been discussing about the steps involved in finite element analysis, discretization process, the elements involved, different types of elements involved in discretization, different shapes and different types of elements used for discretization for subdividing the structure into smaller elements. Now it is a good time to learn theory of finite element method. To begin theory of finite element methods, let us now see the definitions for elements and the nodes. In finite element method, part of subdividing the entire structure into a smaller portions or elements are called as elements, and these elements are connected by means of nodes. The element connecting the characteristic points are called as nodes, and the smaller portion resulted after subdividing the entire structure into a smaller portions are called as elements. Now let us see the different elements and the shapes involved in finite element analysis. The different element shapes available in finite element methods are dimensional elements, two-dimensional elements, three-dimensional elements, and axisymmetrical elements. One-dimensional elements are used to solve one-dimensional problems. The examples for the one-dimensional problems are bar element, string element, and a line element. This one-dimensional element will have a minimum of 2 nodes, and it can also be connected by means of several other nodes, depends upon the nature of one-dimensional element that is being used for solving one-dimensional problems. Next to one-dimensional element, let us see the two-dimensional elements. The two-dimensional elements are used to solve two-dimensional problems. For solving these two-dimensional problems, we need two-dimensional elements like plane strain and plate problems. So to solve two-dimensional problems, we need to use two-dimensional elements. Two-dimensional elements are often contains 3-noded triangular elements. So 3-noded triangular element will look like this. So the common and the most widely used two-dimensional elements are triangular elements with 3 nodes. As it has the functions of being the first and the most used elements, these are called constant strain triangle, or in short CST. These are also called as linear displacement triangle. Similar to 3-noded triangular element, in finite element analysis, 6-noded and 10-noded triangular elements are also used in the analysis. The 6-noded triangular elements are known as linear strain triangle, or in short LST. This is also called as quadratic displacement triangle. The 10-noded triangular elements are known as quadratic strain triangle or cubic displacement triangle. So to see 6-noded triangular element or linear straight triangle with 6 nodes are shown in this figure. On the right hand side, we can see the quadratic strain triangle with 10 nodes. Similar to 6-noded triangular elements, in finite element analysis, 10-noded triangular elements are also widely used, which is also known as quadratic strain triangle or cubic displacement triangle. Compared to a triangular element, a simple and a less used two-dimensional element is the 4-noded rectangular element whose sides are parallel to the global coordinate system. This element is easy to construct but is not suited for inclined boundaries. To visualize a 4-noded rectangular element, this is how a 4-noded rectangular element will look like, and this is the coordinate system, which is referred to as a global coordinate system. Similar to the 4-noded rectangular elements, the rectangular elements with higher order can also be used. The family of Lagrangian rectangle are shown below. When the rectangular element has more than 4 nodes, it comes into the category of Lagrange family rectangular elements. When the rectangular elements have the nodes along the external boundaries are termed as family of serendipity rectangles. The family of serendipity rectangles are shown in this figure. Other than triangle and rectangular elements, quadrilateral elements are also used in finite element analysis. Initially, it was developed by combining the triangular element, but based on the development of isoparametric concepts, the higher order triangular elements can be used to generate quadrilateral elements. Few images of quadrilateral elements are displayed here. The quadrilateral elements looks like the combination of 2 triangular elements. It can have 4, 5 and the nodes, depends on the type of quadrilateral that we use in finite element analysis. So based on the isoparametric concept, the curved elements are also developed to take care of the curved shapes. So few curved 2-dimensional elements are displayed in this slide. Next to 1-dimensional, 2-dimensional and 3-dimensional elements, now let us see axisymmetrical elements. These are also called as ring elements. It is useful in analyzing axisymmetrical problems such as cylindrical storage tanks, shaft, rocket nozzle, retaining walls, tunnel structures. Axisymmetrical elements can be constructed from 1 or 2-dimensional. The example for 1-dimensional axisymmetrical element is the frustum of a cone. The example for the 2-dimensional axisymmetrical element is the right triangular or quadrilateral element that is displayed in this figure. Next to 2-dimensional element, now let us see in detail about 3-dimensional elements and its different types. So similar to the triangles for 2-dimensional problems, tetrahedron is the basic for 3-dimensional problems. This tetrahedron consists of 4 nodes in which one node will be one node at each corner. The three-dimensional elements with 8 nodes are either in the form of general hexahedron or rectangular prism. So to see how a three-dimensional element will look, let us see a tetrahedron with 4 nodes, rectangular prism with 8 nodes, and an arbitrary hexahedral element with 8 nodes with different lengths, and the three-dimensional quadratic elements with these different types of nodes arranged both at the center and at the corner of the curved three-dimensional quadratic elements. Based on the knowledge of different types of elements, now let us see in detail about nodes. As we have already defined, the characteristic point that connects the element is called as nodes, and it is the selected point with the basic unknowns such as displacement in elasticity problem that are to be determined in finite element analysis. Nodes are an important term that is used in finite element analysis, and these unknowns that are available in the nodes are determined by approximations or interpolations or by using shape functions in terms of nodal value of the elements. Let us see the different types of nodes. Nodes are basically divided into two: external nodes and internal nodes. The external nodes occur on the edges or surface of the element, and it is common to two or more elements. The external nodes are further classified into primary nodes and secondary nodes. The primary nodes occur at the ends of one-dimensional element or at the corners or three-dimensional elements, whereas secondary nodes occurs along the side of the element but not at the corners. So when the nodes occur at the corners, it refers to the primary nodes, and if it is along the sides of the elements but not at the corners, are referred to as secondary nodes. So this picture or image will help us to understand the primary and the secondary nodes, internal and the external nodes. Let us see the different types of nodes in the triangular element. In the triangular elements, the node 1, 2 and 3 are the primary nodes, whereas the nodes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are the secondary nodes. The node inside the triangular element, the node 10, is called internal node. In case of a rectangular element, the nodes at the corners 1, 2, 3 and 4 are the primary nodes. The nodes along the sides 5, 6, 7, 8 are the secondary nodes. The node inside the rectangular element, node number 9, is called as internal nodes. As explained in the diagram, the internal nodes occur inside the elements and are specific to the element selected. There will not be any other element connecting these nodes. These nodes are selected to satisfy the requirement of geometric isotropic while interpolation functions. As we have figured the different types of nodes for an element in case of a triangle, rectangle or a quadratic element. So now in order to find the unknowns that is acting in the nodes, let us see in detail about nodal unknowns. The basic unknowns are displacement for stress analysis, temperature for heat flow problems, potential for fluid flow and magnetic field problems. So these unknowns will be acting at the nodes. In case of a structural analysis problem or a structural problem, in stress analysis, the plane stress and the plane strain, the only unknowns are displacements, as there will be no change in the slope, and these are called as zeroth continuity problems. In case of beams and plates, since the slope is the first derivative of the displacement, this type of problems are first order continuity problems. So in case of beam, the unknowns are slopes and the displacements.